Mornings on 2 is hitting the road for a zip trip to Clayton.
The people are great.
We love the small town of Clayton.
We're checking out the town's favorite hotspots.
We have regulars that come back 2-3 times a week.
And highlighting Clayton's can-do attitude.
This is a small community, and you can see the benefits of your volunteer time.
It's an East Bay community for the young.
There you go. One more. Good girl.
And the young at heart.
I've been here for 35 years.
As Mornings on 2 takes you on a zip trip to Clayton. When you see the horses hitched to the local watering hole, you know you are not in San Francisco anymore. Today, our zip trip has brought us to beautiful Clayton, California, zip code 94517. My producers wanted me to play Old Town Road. I was going to say, can we play Ignacio Valley Road? Because that is what you take off of 680 and just start heading east. We are here in Clayton to bring you our latest zip trip, and what a morning it is. This city is about 4 square miles, not even that really, but they pack an awful lot of heart and soul into it. Clayton got big not too long ago. There was a big coal mining boom here in eastern Cocoa County, and this town is fairly new, incorporated just in 1964, Frank.
And I think half the town is here when they're setting up lounge chairs before we kick off. You know it's going to be a big day. This is kind of a really cool town because you're not too far out of the city, but yet you're kind of in backcountry here. They kind of hold on to their western roots a little bit, and we'll talk more about that. And as a kid, I grew up in the East Bay, and I worked for my dad. He was a contractor, and occasionally we'd come through Clayton. We'd always have lunch at the Pioneer Inn, which was a great steakhouse from the 50s to the early 90s. The steak was great, but the calamari was the best.
Okay, got it. That was your pay for the day, right?
There we go.
That's how dads and sons can do, so.
That's what we do. All right, let's give you the cast of characters today to say. Let's kick it off with Sal, of course, the taste of the town. And at God's Hour, Sal is already at a bar. He's at the Clayton Club. We'll check in with him on the food and fare here in town. Steve Paulson, the unofficial mayor of this town. I got to tell you how many pictures he's already taken. He lived here for 10 years. So Steve, who delivered a great weather day, we'll chat with Steve and find out more about Clayton. And Claudine is at the bocce courts. Sometimes it takes a village to get things done. She's got our hometown hero, and those bocce courts have been a big source of goodness here for town.
There's a real can-do attitude in this city, and a lot of people have said, you know, I don't know that I've quite made it out to Clayton yet. Well, you should, and there are a million reasons why.
Exactly. It all started with the pioneers, then the coal miners, you got the ranchers, you got the farmers, a lot of which are still here. So here's Clayton, 94517 on our zip trip. Located at the foot of Mount Diablo in eastern Contra Costa County, Clayton is a charming city with a rich history. It was founded in 1857 by Joel Clayton, a successful businessman and landowner who helped the area prosper during the coal mining boom over the years. Mining, though, turned into farming and ranching. And in 1964, as ranches were replaced by homes, residents voted to incorporate the city. Clayton is now home to more than 12,000 people, and its history still reflects in its buildings. The city's post office, established way back in 1861, is one of California's oldest still operating today. And several businesses downtown are modern renditions of Clayton's Victorian era. Mining town architecture, Clayton is known for its Mediterranean climate and warm, dry summers that often peak in the 80s in July. City is also home to a popular bocce ballpark, which has just been remodeled. Park hosts leagues that attract thousands of players every season.
We'll take you to those bocce courts in just a second. But first, this is what I like. When you throw a party, you invite a group of people. Then they bring their friends. Well, guess who showed up? We have some friends. The drum line from Clayton Valley Charter High School is behind us here at the Grove, and so is our own Claudine Wong. Good morning, Claudine.
Good morning. Yes, it is a party out here. We're going to make our ways to bocce court pretty soon, but we couldn't, not spend a little time here. We've got the drum line from Clayton Valley Charter School. They showed up just to be a part of this. They've been practicing all summer long. They tell me they've had a couple of 12-hour days, which is pretty amazing. And then we go over here. They are not to be outdone by the cheerleaders. And we've got the head coach of the varsity squad here with them. How much have they been practicing this summer, Nicole?
Quite a bit so far. They're a pretty dedicated team, so they do a few days a week and a couple hours each day.
So when you heard we were coming to town and you're like, well, if we're going to show the pride of Clayton, you can't have these girls being left out.
You can't have Clayton represented without Clayton Valley High School's football team and cheerleading team, that's for sure.
Well, that's amazing. And so this group, we'll see them all. We hope you have a great season.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And so super fun to watch them out here. If you take a look at this crowd, of course, we have the football team here. So we want to give them a wave. Hey, guys. Yeah, so the football team can't be outdone. We've got all members of their, all the different varsity, JV, they're all out here as well. And then we've got the kids out here too. It is really a great event out here. We're so excited to spend a little time with everyone out here in Clayton. What a welcome we have gotten. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Claudine, thank you for that. Years ago, I used to wrestle at Miramonte High.
Oh, yes.
Clayton Valley High, when it was a high school and not a charter school, won the the California State Wrestling Championship in 1977. I can list all of them, but I won't.
Okay, should we bring those guys back for a rematch?
I don't think so.
Let's talk about calmer things. One of my favorite things to do is get a good book and snuggle up underneath a tree in the summer, and there is no better place to do that here in Clayton. I mean, a real book with pages, not something online. And when you talk about the importance of being a small city with a can-do attitude, nothing says that better than the Clayton Community Library Foundation. They built their own library because nobody else was going to do it for them. And here is how you can help. There is a fundraiser happening in late October, 25, 26, 27 of October. It's the fall used book sale put on through the Clayton Community Library Foundation. The foundation was formed back in 1989. They have raised untold amounts of money for books, electronics, even furniture, the things that make a library. Plus, the people of the foundation are incredible. We have some people who've donated more than 500 hours of their work just to make sure that people have a good book to read under a gorgeous tree.
All right, well, we'll have more on the Clayton Valley Library Foundation, but first we got to go to a bar at God's hours in the morning. How about Sal? Yeah, it is one of the oldest bars in California. It kicked off back in the 1870s. It's the Clayton Club Saloon, and that's where we find Sal at this hour. Take it away, buddy.
And I've made a new friend apparently here. I'm standing in front of the Clayton Club Saloon. They already have a band inside. People are out. I gotta love this Clayton town. People are already out here now. Some people rode their horses. Some of these ladies rode their horses here to the Clayton Club. And I want to ask one of the employees here, Rebecca, who works at the Clayton Club. First of all, what's it like to come here and get a drink?
Well, I think it's the best thing ever, of course, because I work here. But this place has really become home to a lot of people that live in Clayton and also don't live here. Horses are still welcome around town, and my friends and I love to ride here, or when I'm working, people come here, post their horses outside, and it's just a great place to be.
All right, well, thank you, Rebecca. So a little later on, I'm going to be showing you what I did when I came to Clayton a little earlier to try some of the food. They have some nice restaurants. They have some great places to get a drink or coffee. And we're also going to talk about this establishment, which has been here for a while. Let's go back to you at the Grove.
Okay, see you in a minute, Sal. Very good. In just our short time at the Grove already this morning, we have met the very first mayor of Clayton. We're
98.
98 years
Bob
old,
Hoyer.
going strong. We are about to talk with the vice mayor of Clayton. We introduce you now to the unofficial mayor of Clayton, KTVU meteorologist Steve Paulson. Your name is in lights here on the marquee.
Well, I lived here for about 10 years.
Yeah.
This is amazingly rare for August.
Right.
Frank will tell you that it can get very hot out here in August. To get this kind of a cool weather day is actually, I mean, amazingly lucky, right?
And as God came out from the skies, the sun came open right when we turned
sun just
on.
came out. But I mean, what's nice about this community is a small town feel, obviously. But what I miss a lot are, no matter 5 minutes from your house, you can find a walking trail.
Oh, I love it.
And I mean, Mount Diablo's there, or back, you mentioned the mines, the old diamond mines. There used to be 8 towns back there in the late 1800s. You can take a trail, mountain bike, whatever, and go all the way back there. I miss that part of it because you were just so close to getting on a trail around
and a
here.
small town feel, because it is pretty small, but everyone knows your name for a number of reasons.
Everyone knows your name, especially if you're going over to Ed's over here, or Moressi's, or the Clayton Club where Sal is.
Sure.
But you get to know everybody pretty fast, and that's what you do miss, a small town feel. And you could just walk down here, like, concerts in the park on Saturday nights, things like that.
Right.
You, at the time, I think you take them for granted. So I do miss those things.
With so much open space surrounding the city of Clayton, my concern immediately goes to wildfire. We had one in this area about a week ago. I imagine this cooler weather is good news on the firefighting front.
Absolutely, because Marsh Creek Road really is. You can take that. It'll take you out to Antioch and Brentwood. That's the back way to go. But that can be fire country, no doubt about it. So that's a concern. Also coming in over the top of, I've seen it come over the backside of Mount Diablo. Yeah. So we're going into that season, August, September, and October. That is a big concern this time of year, definitely. And what's interesting is, having lived here, it doesn't get that windy unless it's an east wind or a northeast wind, and then it howls coming down from the Black Diamond and also from Diablo.
And I know you like your wine. You're up in wine country now.
A little bit.
About a year ago, but years ago there were vineyards right here.
There were vineyards. Oh my gosh, yeah. Some of the early wineries were right here. Right here.
DiMartini.
That's right. See, that's, and the building's still in place. I believe the police station's there.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So there's a long history with that as well.
Steve Paulson, we're putting you on hold real quick. We've got so much more to talk about Clayton.
Go for it.
So let's do it. You learned a lot about Clayton not too long ago.
Well, people certainly know their history there.
They do.
I'll tell you that. How did Clayton get its name? Believe it or not, two guys had to flip a coin to find out. We got more on our Zip Trip Trivia coming up, so stay with us.
Rhythm and blues, rockabilly, rock and roll, and more. The RELYKS of Clayton call themselves party catalysts. You put in the ingredients and they stir it up. They play at the Art and Wine Festival, chili cook-offs, and of course the Clayton Club Saloon. They've got a big benefit coming up later this month for a place that's thousands of miles away. So their hearts and bodies are in Clayton, but their minds are elsewhere as well. So thank you to the RELYKS for getting this party going as we are taking our zip trip to Clayton this morning here at the Grove.
We'll give a shout out Eric, Rex, Jody, Bob, and John, and they've been, everyone's on their feet here.
Yeah, they've been jamming for 16 plus years together, so I think they've got a good thing going.
They do. All right, well, Clayton has been around since, the 1850s, I guess, 1857. Two men founded this town, and they had a little issue.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out what to call the town, so they actually had to flip a coin. We'll find out more now. A little zip trip trivia for you here in the city of Clayton. True or false, the city of Clayton actually was named when the two founders had to flip a coin?
True.
True. How come?
I have no idea.
But you're going with it.
I'm going with it.
And you're right.
Oh,
You're right.
excellent.
The guy's name was Charles Rhine. So you guys would have been?
The Rhine town.
Rhineville.
Rhineville. Okay.
You would be called Rhineville.
Ew.
True or false, long before the Napa Valley started growing grapes, grapes were growing in the Clayton area.
I've ridden horses here for a long time, vineyards.
Do you see any?
No, I don't see it.
Were you looking for it?
Yeah.
We actually have a sherry, an old sherry distillery that was here from back in the day that's now been turned into our Clayton police station.
Have you had some good Clayton Cabernet?
I've had Contra Costa County Zin.
You could be sipping Chardonnay here.
I could. Missed opportunity here.
Exactly. A film called The Wild Ride was shot in the late 50s, aired in the 60s, shot in Contra Costa County, much of it shot right here in Clayton, and it featured an actor that went on to win 3 Academy Awards. Do you know who it is?
Look, man, she can't cut it. She doesn't dig our way.
Travolta?
John Travolta was probably 2 or 3.
Well, the only one, I'm assuming that's a classic, so Steve McQueen's the only racer that I know.
We gonna play games?
Clint Eastwood. Paul Newman?
You got it wrong, man.
Jack Nicholson.
How did you know that?
It's Easy Rider.
It was directed by Harvey Berman out at BBC, and Harvey Berman was Carol Burnett's first manager.
True or false, the coal mining industry got so big in the mid-1800s that they nearly changed the name of Mount Diablo to Coal Hill.
I think that's false.
I'd say true.
True. How come?
Because legislators are always wanting to change things that don't need changed.
False. It's actually true. Ha! You got me. All right, can you imagine? It wouldn't be the Mount Diablo Valley, it would be the Coal Hill Valley. So mining is a big part of it. By the way, I'll give my brother a little plug.
Yes.
The Historical Society, they've got a museum here. He actually did the mining display for them.
Nice.
And it's on display right now if you want to check it out. My brother Mark.
Well, I know there was a lot to do, a lot to see, a lot of hiking to be done here, horse riding as well. And after all that, you need a good drink. So we sent our Southcast native to take a sip and a taste of the town, and we'll introduce you to what he found as we continue our zip trip here to gorgeous Clayton in just a minute. Stay with us here on the 9.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
Hey, good morning. We're here in Clayton taking you on our latest zip trip to this gorgeous East Bay city. The sun came out.
Boy, did it ever.
Temperature went up about 10 degrees.
Maybe 20.
Maybe 20.
We're feeling it.
We have a lot more here from the Grove in a second. First, though, we have to get back to the news of the day. Our Dave Clark is in the newsroom. You've been covering up a pretty big fire there in Oakland, Dave.
Yes, it was. Garcia and Frank, thank you. Oakland fire crews still at the scene of that early morning warehouse fire, and a deputy fire chief confirmed with KTVU's Alyssa Harrington that building is now used by an artisan co-op. Now, the building is on East 11th Street and 23rd Avenue near Interstate 880. The fire reported just before 6:30 this morning. The deputy fire chief says there were 37 individual spaces in that building for different artists, including metal crafting and wood shop. It's important to point out, with the ghost ship fire trial jury deliberating still now, authorities don't believe this building is another ghost ship. Officials are working with the property managers who say this building was only used during business hours and no one was living there when the fire started. But this fire did bring back memories of the ghost ship fire disaster as people were driving by.
That's what made me drive way over here. You know, it's sad. Like I said, every time I start talking about it, I want to cry. You know, it doesn't matter if you know somebody in it or not. It's just the fact that it's people.
Now, at this point, no injuries are reported. Firefighters tried to go inside the building when they first arrived, but the flames were just too strong. Now the fire crews are taking a defensive approach. Still no word on how the fire started, but we expect to get an update on the situation on the news at noon, so make sure you join us then. Now let's go back to Garcia and Frank at our zip trip in Clayton.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, well, we're going to introduce you to the vice mayor. She has been a part of Clayton since 1984. She was mayor at one time, city council member, planning commission. You had a lot to do with transportation in Contra Costa County. You started a Boy Scout troop here. You're the mother of 2 Eagle Scouts. I have a feeling you love this town, Vice Mayor.
I love this town, and welcome to Clayton. A little bit of paradise here in Contra Costa County.
Oh my God, it's beautiful here. Talk about holding on to kind of your small town western roots, because once you get off Ignacio and make a right-hand turn onto Clayton Road, you kind of transform a little bit, don't you?
We do. Your blood pressure drops at least 10 points, maybe more than that when you drive past the city limits. There's just a feeling of, I'm home. I'm back to a real peaceful place that's all about family and community. This community is run by volunteers. And, you know, we have a small budget, and every good activity in town, you've met some of them already, are volunteers. And that's how things get done here.
Now, when you joined the city council back in 1992, I imagine there were not many people who were ridiculous enough to live in Clayton and work in San Francisco, in Mountain View, in Sunnyvale.
There were a lot.
But do you see that phenomenon changing? Because now is that the norm? Whereas before it used to be a crazy commute, but now it's what we do.
It's what we do. Yeah. It literally is what we do, and why we're working on transportation solutions for that. But, you know, there are a lot of people that still commute. We're an aging population in Clayton, so a lot of people do work from home after they've retired from some of the big corporations. And we're trying to get more businesses out to Contra Costa County so we can shorten that commute and improve the air quality and the quality of life for
our residents.
I like your note on the blood pressure, because you really do feel like you're in a nice little western town. Let's talk about housing, because it's not cheap to live in Clayton.
No,
it's not
not
cheap to live anywhere in the Bay Area, but the median price for a home here is $860,000.
That's right.
So,
but they're not $1 million houses yet.
Not yet.
There are some, but yes.
I mean, 860 is half of what some other cities in the. I mean, we're seeing an average median of 1.4, 1.6.
That's right.
So, how important is housing and affordable housing to the city of Clayton?
I think it's very important. There are some folks in town who don't really want any change at all. I happen to have kids who live here in Clayton. I say kids, but they're 45 years old, so you know, and my grandchildren live here. I would love for them to be able to afford to live in Clayton, but right now that's becoming more and more difficult. So that's a challenge we're trying to face together as a council.
And you said it's an aging community. A lot of farmers, a lot of ranchers, used to be orchards out here. A lot of people come and they stay, do they not?
They do. Once people find this little piece of paradise, they don't want to leave.
I think the cat's out of the bag today.
I think so. I think so. And that's okay. We're a very welcoming community, and we have activities all year long that people can come and enjoy a little piece of Clayton even if they can't afford to live here.
What's your biggest hope for Clayton, real quick, before we have to let you go?
My hope for Clayton is that we can continue to add housing, add amenities that will allow our children and grandchildren to enjoy the place where they grew up, and be that kind of a community that welcomes everyone. So.
You're a bocce player too, aren't you?
Actually, I'm not.
You're not?
No, but I'm a huge supporter of the bocce stuff. My schedule is busy enough. I can't give up a whole week, a whole night every week. But I love the bocce. We'll be down there for the grand opening tonight. Yep. And it's really been wonderful for this community. We are so thrilled to have the bocce courts and doing what they do.
Well, that's a great segue into our next segment. Vice Mayor Julie Pierce, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for coming to Clayton and experiencing our little piece of paradise.
Absolutely.
All right, speaking of bocce, Claudine Wong was out and about a week ago. They've got some new courts here, and we're going to tell you how those got built. It took a community to do it all. We're zip tripping to Clayton. Stay right there.
All my favorites from the 80s and more. The RELYKS are rocking the Grove here in Clayton, zip code 94517. Rock and roll, rockabilly, rhythm and blues. A lot of influences from artists that we usually only hear coming out of the radio here in real life. Our zip trip has taken us to Clayton. You know I love a good farmer's market, so I'll meet you here in downtown Clayton tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the Saturday Farmers Market.
I hear it's fabulous. Steve says it is a must-see here.
I love it.
All right. Well, thanks to the RELYKS for bringing us in. You know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Somewhere it is 5 o'clock, but it's actually 9:30-ish right now. And Sal has found one of the oldest bars in California. It is the Clayton Club, and let's kick it off with Sal. Good morning.
Hey, Frank, good morning to you. You know, this bar has been here operating since the 1870s, and it's hopping right now. The Clayton Club, just a few, maybe even just a half block from where you are at the Grove. I want to bring in the owner of the Clayton Club, and that's Steve Barton. Steve, thank you for opening up a little early for us today.
It's a pleasure. We're happy to have you here.
So when cowboys and other people started coming here in 1870, did the place look almost the same, or?
Originally, it was a hotel, but it burned down in the 1890s, and this building was built about 1898, something in that neighborhood. And it's been continuously operating in this building since that time.
And so the people who come here are aware of the history. Tell me a little bit more about the drinks that you make. I hear you make a pretty mean Bloody Mary.
Well, you can't do a Taste of Clayton without having one of our Bloody Marys, so I hope you're going to have a try on that later. But the history is all around the inside of the room. You can't look up, down, or sideways without seeing real Clayton history.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, Steve Paulson and I are going to be inside, and just a little bit later in this program, we're going to be taking a look for you. But when I came to Clayton, my assignment is to try some of the restaurants. Now, there are a lot of restaurants here. I found two that I really liked, and the taste of Clayton. We began at La Veranda Cafe, which serves Northern Italian food. The owners say they wanted a place that would make it easy to stay in town to have a quality meal.
They used to go to the city of Walnut Creek, not anymore. They always come over here now.
Maybe they come here for the appetizers made with fresh, seasonal ingredients. I tried the grilled fig stuffed with gorgonzola cheese wrapped in pancetta. Another appetizer I tried was the grilled shrimp, also wrapped in pancetta with marinara sauce dip. For the main course, I tried the lasagna, a dish La Veranda is known for. But the real star, in my opinion, is the spaghetti frutti di mare.
It's seafood pasta with clams, mussels, calamari. It's got prawns in it, and the sauce is lobster bisque sauce.
The lobster bisque sauce is the key to making the dish rich and complex. I also tried the baked halibut served with a side of fresh vegetables. And La Veranda makes pizza too. It's one of the most popular lunch items. And don't forget dessert. I tried the chocolate ganache with Ghirardelli chocolate, strawberries, fresh whipped cream, and a secret ingredient I couldn't figure out.
Nope, I can't tell what it is. I'm going to have to go back in.
This place is a hit with locals, some who come here to celebrate milestones.
We're going to come here and celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary and just love everything about the family-run aspect of this business.
The people are great. The food is good, too. I mean, really good. We've been coming here since they opened about 15, 16 years ago.
Right across the street is Ed's Mudville Grill. If you've ever been to Ed's, it's a lot like Cheers, where people remember your name.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
I've been here a few times, and the locals make me feel welcome every time I come back. I like to sit at the bar and talk sports, maybe because the place has some really nice old school jerseys on display and sports on TV all day long.
If you're a beer guy or gal, you can get plenty of beers here, everything from your old school American beers to craft brews.
Food, it's got that too, including classic favorites like hamburgers, mac and cheese for the kids, and fries, and a lot of sandwiches. We saw a good lunch crowd sitting inside and at tables outside. I'm told Friday nights here are especially popular. Owner Ed Moresi says the key to his longtime success is simple: good, friendly service.
Well, it starts out with hospitality, and you just make friends every day. Every day, connect the dots with people and ask them where they're from and just form friendships.
I have to give a little honorable mention to Scipollini's Pizza, which I've tried, is also really good right here in Clayton. A lot of other stuff to eat here as well. One of the things that I have noticed is that this bar, almost everyone who lives here at one point or another has come through to say hi. They know the owner. Everyone knows each other. A little later on, Steve Paulson, yes, that's Steve Paulson, and I will be inside checking out the place just for you. Let's go back to you now.
Perfect. Very good. All right.
I've never been to the Clayton Club.
Where is it? Can you help me find it? Says Steve. All right.
It's right there.
Steve's right next to us. You're back because this, in a lot of respects, is your town. And I have to tell you, in the couple hours we've been here this morning, we went from needing jackets to feeling okay to needing a cooling fan. This is a study in extremes.
Very much an extreme, but very fortunate, you two.
On this day.
On this day with the cloud cover.
Yeah.
When I first moved here in 2006, it was in May. I think it was July. It would hit 110 or something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?
Right.
But then also there are days when it has snowed.
A couple years after you moved here, back in 09,
after I moved here, and also, I mean, you wake up and there's snow almost all the way down parts of Ignacio Valley. So it does happen here. A lot of people judge it by the snow level coming down Mount Diablo.
Right.
Diablo always gets snow,
Sure.
but sometimes it does make it into Clayton.
Wow.
I'll be darned. Now, you moved from here about a year ago.
I did.
Up to the Napa Valley. You now live on a golf course.
Close to the Napa Valley.
And you lived on a golf course here. There's a pattern here.
If you've never been up to Oakhurst, I recommend. I know it's a trek to come down Ignacio Valley Road, but go to Oakhurst. And I used to belong to the tennis team up there, the USTA, more so than the golf. And everybody who comes out here for the first time sits there and just looks and can't believe the view. So if you get a chance, just go up there and maybe just to check it out, because it's really worth it. You get to see the backside of Diablo.
Spectacular vistas.
Yes.
I have to say, sometimes when you talk about a small city, and Clayton is small, only
Yes.
12,000 people, some people might not think that it's going to be very welcoming, right?
Oh.
Tell me about the welcoming spirit that does exist here
Oh my
in
gosh,
Clayton.
unbelievable. I mean, you could just show up and somebody will say hello.
Good.
I mean, you can go over to Moressi's over here, or Ed's, or the Clayton Club where we're going to go, and you'll get a conversation with a local very soon. Believe me, they're
Not
very welcoming.
intimidating.
Not at all. Good. Not at all.
And you touched on this earlier, but great hiking too. You can walk 5 minutes out of your house.
Look, if you're by Mount Tam or Mount Hamilton, you have your trails, your hiking trails, your mountain bike. But here by Mount Diablo, there are many. Within 5 minutes, you're on one, and you can go way back, way back.
All right, weather-wise,
it's perfect. I mean, we're under cloudy skies. I was talking to people over here. This is really rare for Clayton in August. So be glad we got this cloud cover.
We are. I started with a down jacket. I'm ready for a tank top for crying out loud.
Exactly.
There you go. Yes.
All right, Steve.
We'll see you at the bar in a few.
I'll be there.
All right, we know you will. All right, very good. So we've been talking a lot about the bocce ball courts, and you know, the sport itself is great, yes, but when you talk about the incredible energy that it took to make it happen here in the city of Clayton, it's almost an even better story. So KTVU's Claudine Wong, a woman of many talents, is at the bocce ball court to tell us how they came to be, Claudine.
Well, really an amazing story out here, Garcia and Frank. You take a look and you see all these people out here. We thought we might be alone because they just opened the bocce courts, but we are not alone. This is a community kind of a place where they gather. Clayton really is bocce, and the story of how it was created is all about community.
Oh, that's so fast. Fair to say, hitting the back wall in bocce is not the goal. But hey, I've never played before. And if there is a place to learn, it's Clayton, because this is kind of the land of bocce.
Focus on the Polino.
The red ball is the Polino, the small ball, and you try to get as close as you can to that.
It wasn't always this way. And then 5 years ago, a group got together to build some courts.
Never picked up a bocce ball before the courts were built. Now I'm finding myself down here 2-3 nights a week, year-round.
And he's not the only one who came to play.
We have 180 teams, 10 players on a team, or 1,800 players. Of that, about 300 play on multiple teams. So if you're looking at individuals, about 1,500. And so a little more than half are from Clayton.
In a town of this size, that means about 1 in every 15 people who live in Clayton plays bocce. But this is not just a story about that little red ball and the quest to cozy up to it.
Yep, that's in.
This is a story about community and about what it took to get these courts here.
Biggest way new players get in is working on to somebody else's team.
Ed Hartley and his wife fell in love with bocce back in 2001 and thought it would be great for Clayton. But 3 different attempts over more than a decade failed. And then one day, Ed Hartley got a call from the owner of Scipolini's, the local pizza place in town, offering land and a financial contribution, on the condition that Ed and the volunteers at the Clayton Business and Community Association would run it.
It took us a few seconds to say yes. What was here was a vacant lot. It was owned by the Ibsen family, and they were never going to build anything on it if this didn't work.
$350,000 in private money was raised with contributions from the Ibsen family and the CBCA. And in 2014, that vacant lot was transformed into the Ibsen family bocce park. And it was an overnight success.
We're quickly overwhelmed with teams. We thought we had room for 50 teams, and we ended up with 70.
Team members each pay about $40 to play for 10 weeks of play, and that money goes back to maintenance and back to the community. And the waiting list is long, with about 500 names on it.
Our oldest player is 98. I think we have a 12 or 13-year-old playing. We have people play that are blind, and it's really brought people, together. There's something in common that a lot of people have, and that's playing bocce.
It took a village, or in this case, a town, to get the ball rolling.
Beautiful. Look at that.
Fair to say, things have lined up pretty well.
All right, they're still playing out here, kind of showing off. I got to tell you, it is not as easy as it looks. There's a little red ball, the Polino, as they switch sides. I want to show you some other stuff they've done, though. If you take a look down at the ground, these are the pavers. They just finished this big project to get these in, and this was funded, half of this huge project was funded by the people who use these courts, who are just so excited to have it here. They've made a lot of changes. Tonight at 7 o'clock, they're having a little party to celebrate the reopening, and I can tell you people have been kind of chomping at the bit to get back on these courts. Now, we talk a lot about the CBCA, and that is the version of the Chamber of Commerce here in Cleveland. Clayton and all that they do for this community, all they do to help. We're going to talk to a member of the CBCA coming up in just a few minutes about the work they do, and we're talking about schools, scholarships, community events, Oktoberfest, so many things they do out there, and we're going to talk to them coming up in just a bit.
All right, Claudine, something about bocce. I play in Martinez, and I'll tell you what, it's kind of like tailgating, and you throw balls in between and socialize. It's nothing but great fun and a big community bonding. Well, coming up next, that same can-do spirit is alive and well in developing Clayton's library. We'll have more on that as we zip trip to Clayton. Stay right there.
Hey, welcome back to the 9. Our zip trip has found us this morning in Clayton, California, about 30 miles east of San Francisco and really a world away. I mentioned up at the top, nothing is better in the summertime than getting under a tree with a good book, and thankfully the people of Clayton have made that possible largely through their own time, talent, and effort. So I'd like you to meet the head of the Clayton Community Library Foundation, Jeannie Boyd. Thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.
Not that long ago, the city did not have a library, but you guys made it happen.
Exactly. We had no library. We had a bookmobile for a few years, and then the bookmobile died. We had a pickup truck for a while, and then that went away, and so we decided it was time to get a library. There was a bond issue for reconstruction and construction of libraries, and at that time, the county librarian said, "Oh, you'll never get the money." That's all he had to say, and we did.
And off you went. And it's all volunteers, right?
All volunteers, right. We had no librarian to work with. So fortunately, the incoming new county librarian was very helpful, and we worked with a lot of wonderful people to get this library going.
And there's people power. I mean, I think you have a mother-daughter duo who's contributed more than 500 hours to the library here in Clayton. People are dedicated.
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, a lot of our early volunteers who were just really dedicated have aged out. Yeah. So we are always looking for new volunteers.
Well, with that in mind, it must do your heart a world of good. I'm assuming you get some kids, some teenagers, 20-year-olds.
We do.
Who haven't forgotten about books in the library, perhaps?
Yes, we do. We have library aides who come and work. They're mostly college students. We do have some high school students. Our lower age is they have to be at least 13 to come and work in the library with parental approval. But unfortunately, the teenagers have gotten very busy, and school activities sort of interfere. So they come for a while and then we lose them.
Well, I know that volunteer hours are one thing and then good old-fashioned cold hard cash is another. And you guys have a fall book sale coming up at the end of October, October 25th through the 27th. You guys raise money for books, electronics. I mean, the chair I sit in when I go to the library, how important is this fall used book sale for Clayton's Library?
It is very important. We do 2 of those big book sales a year, one in October and one in April. And the income from those has dropped some. I think we took in something over $5,000 last fall, and but we have a bookstore now in the library, and with very reasonably priced books, mostly $1.
A buck.
And so that's bringing in a couple of $100s a month. So that sort of adds to our income. But yeah, it's very important to us to have those book sales.
Absolutely. Well, Jeannie Boyd. Oh, go ahead.
And based on all donations from the public.
I love it. So bring your money, bring your manpower, woman power, and keep that Clayton Library going. Jeannie Boyd, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Libraries are a treasure, as are librarians.
They are, absolutely.
Right. Thank you, Jeannie. Well, another big community event would be the bocce courts. They got a lot of folks here in town fired up to build them and had to get the land donated, the whole shebang. And with more on that, let's throw it over to Claudine.
Well, we talked about how much the bocce world is a part of Clayton. When you talk about what put it together, and we mentioned the CBCA, we've got CW with the CBCA here with us now because
I'm here.
You're here.
I am here. And you know why I'm here? Because I'm one of the only people in Clayton that can pronounce Garcia Michaelian.
You do that very well.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Okay, let's talk about CBCA. and really what it does. You guys don't have a Chamber of Commerce here?
No. The CBCA is like the de facto Chamber of Commerce here, and it's an organization that raises money for the good of the community. That's the motto of the CBCA.
And when we're talking money, we're talking a good portion of money that goes for all the events in town. I mean, I've had people come up to me and say, make sure you come back for Oktoberfest. Make sure you come back for...
Come back for everything.
For music in the park. Make sure you come back for...
That's right. We have the concerts in the Grove. The CBCA sponsors that. We have Oktoberfest coming up October 5th and 6th in downtown Clayton. CBCA sponsors that. But CBCA is for the good of the community, so we raise lots of money by those festivals and other things. And we give back to scholarships, to education funding. We give to the Blue Star Moms and lots of organizations.
And really, you saying if people come up to you and say, hey, we could use a little help. I mean, the bocce courts that we're looking at now that are so popular, it was saying, hey, could we do this? Can we be a part of this? This is something that the CBCA says, okay, can we make this happen?
That's right. And the CBCA it basically is, if you want it, you come to us, and all you have to do is fill out some forms, go through the process, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to be awarded the money. It's a really amazing
Don't be that 1 time out of 10, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
that's
and
right.
you're a council member here, and we're looking at all these folks behind us, which is so great. I mean, look, it's like a party.
And the puppies. We bring the puppies out.
And lots
We're
of dogs.
Friendly.
What do you think, in terms of Clayton, for people who are like, oh, I've never been there, this place looks kind of cool. It is about it.
You know, when I moved here in 1989, people in Walnut Creek and Concord, you'd say, where do you live? And I'd say Clayton. They would say, where is that?
It's a little deep, right? Like you have to drive to get. You have to earn it.
That's right, because it's 9 miles from the freeway, and we choose to live in Clayton, don't we? Because it's a bedroom community, and we love it that way, and that's what Clayton is all about. And you're right, we have to fight the traffic, but we'll do it because on the way back, the return, once we get to Clayton, we know exactly why we're here.
Is there a signature event? We got the signature bocce, which I mean, I think I did the math. It was like 1 in every 12
people or so play bocce, and some of them are amazing.
They're really good. It's kind of, I tried to learn when I was out here shooting that story, and I'm really terrible. I do know that's the Polino.
That is the Polino, and we have a new bear over there, and that's called Skipolino.
Skipolino.
It's our new bear.
Okay, and tonight we have the grand opening.
Yes.
You have
7
movie
o'clock.
in the park.
Yes.
You have carnivals tonight.
That's
and
right.
You had a zip trip this morning. I'm exhausted by how big of a day it is.
Let's go home. Come on.
Yeah, we're going to go home. We're exhausted. We need to get some refreshments. All right, we'll send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Claudine. Well, Sal, believe it or not, still at the saloon.
Still.
And he's got a little company. We're going to chat with Sal and Steve, who I think knows the territory oh too well when we come back. Stay with us.
From Elvis Presley to the Rolling Stones, the Monkees, and everything in between, the RELYKS have been rocking Clayton for 16 plus years, and they're here as we are bringing our zip trip to Clayton today, and they are providing the catalyst that they say they are for all parties. You probably heard about the Art and Wine Festival, Chili Cook-Off, of course, the Clayton Club Saloon. It's important to know that the RELYKS here have a very important benefit concert coming up, a live performance on August 24th. 1451 Lydia Lane, right here in Clayton. Tickets only $25, and that money goes to a great cause. The ticket price proceeds benefit charity work being done in Uganda, thousands of miles away. So the RELYKS are all about heart and soul and rock and roll. I love a good hometown band.
Yes, a lot of toe tapping going on here, that's for sure. All right, well, Steve and Sal like a good bar, apparently. They're still at the Clayton Club. Let's join those two guys. Perhaps a beverage at this hour, guys.
This is a good assignment.
Very good assignment. Somebody had to take it, so we both took it.
So I'm in basically one of Steve's home bars here, and Steve, I noticed what's the boots on the
This is the second oldest continually run bar in California. There's one in Groveland that's older, but this is the second, the Clayton Club here, and the tradition started. This is a long time ago. one of the regulars died, and so they put his boots up on the ceiling, and then when they played pool, they'd tap it as a signature of good luck. But then they finally had to stop it because too many people were putting their boots up there. So that's how that tradition got started.
All right, so lead me through this. If you're in town and you want to have, you want to start one place and then end up at another, I assume this is the place you end up.
You better end up here, yes. But also there's a back patio out there. In the summertime, it's great. You can come outside, and there's a big back patio out there. You're not just confined inside.
So you start at Ed's maybe, and then you go
to start at Ed's, Mudville Grill, then maybe go over to Moressi's over here, sit outside, have some apps, and then to call it, obviously responsibility, and then maybe come over for one final one or just check it out here at the Clayton Club.
This place is jumping, I have to tell you, and they've already poured us a couple of Bloody Marys, which are the specialty, one of the specialties here. So if you don't mind, Frank and Gassia, I'd like to toss it back to you. Just let me give you a cheers, and then leave us with, go ahead and take it away.
I hope you have one for us there, Sal, because we're almost done here.
Yeah. I think they may have left us.
I think
us
they're
to go
drinking their Bloody Mary.
Okay, well, let's say they're eating first. All right, so I'm going to hang out here, listen to the music of the RELYKS. Can I tell you, Clayton brought it today. 12,000 people live in the city, and I think we've got about half of them here behind us at the Grove. I see signs. People are saying Clayton is the best. Nothing is better than coming out and showing
you know what?
a town that we don't typically get to feature on the news.
Hey, Clayton, can we hear it?
There we go. So
there you go.
This has been a great morning. We thank you for joining us. We have one more zip trip to go this summer, so I hope you meet us in a couple Fridays in Fremont. So I know Mike Meback was sad that he had to miss this. I'm glad that you're here with me because you know this town well.
It was good to be here. August the 23rd, we'll be in Fremont, and they've got a lot of history as well, so looking forward to that.
They do. I mean, it seemed like yesterday we did our first zip trip to my hometown of Livermore. We went to Campbell, American Canyon, South City, Sunnyvale. Here we are in Clayton, and zip trips are far from over. So thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your Friday. I'll see you at the Farmers Market here in Clayton tomorrow, Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Clayton, thanks for having us. You have a good rest of your day.
Bye, Clayton.
Let's go listen to that band.